And through a fog of smoke, she appears. If you've landed here, you've landed on Let's Talk News. I'm your host, Leticia Remauro, and whether you intended to get here or not, I appreciate that you landed here. So, welcome. Um, Last day of the week. Boy, am I tired. And a whole nother bombshell was dropped, different than the one we've been dropping on Iran. Um, yeah, Kristi Noem is out. And in my opinion, she should have taken herself out after the Good shooting. Don't get me wrong, she did a great job at the border, but Minnesota was a mess. And she should have said to the president, "You got to pull out. We can't stay there." But apparently, she was giving him all kinds of bad information. Hi, Francine. Good to have you. Hi, Kevin. Good to have you too. And Karen. Oh, it's our usual suspects. Thank you all for being here. Debbie Lebedo, our in-house comedian, and Angela Ricca. Yeah, news. There's lots of news. But, we talked about this after the Good shooting, that, I say Kristi should have resigned. That's what I would have done, because I would have wanted to take it off my boss's plate. I would have wanted to make it look like I did something wrong, or I'm taking accountability, taking responsibility, and take it off of Trump's plate. But she just couldn't do it. She just couldn't do it. And then when Freddie was shot, well, the rumor is, hi, Colleen, that she or her office told the White House something totally different than what actually happened, and that's why the White House response was the way it was. They tried to make it as if it was Freddie was trying to execute the police, and who knows? Maybe in the end that was his intention, because he brought a gun to a protest. But anyway, that caused the president to be very aggressive with his comments, and that stuff doesn't go away. So she screwed up twice, and she should have gone on her own accord. And now it seems that Trump has fired her. Hello, how are you, Professor? Good to have you. She doesn't know how to play politics. That's what happens. Well, she was a governor of a pretty tough state. So I don't know how she doesn't know how to play politics. My thought process is that she was so used to being the chief, the pretty girl, the boss girl, the tough girl, and the one in charge, that working for someone else was not easy for her. And she did some really questionable things, if you ask me. I mean, I have been saying all along, why are we seeing these commercials on Fox, of all places, about illegal migrants? I doubt that they watch Fox. So I don't know what that was about, but $220 million worth. He created some job for her. Yeah, she's going to be something of the Americas. I don't know. Whatever it is, it'll be out of the way. But Hakeem Jeffries is beating his chest as if I just can't stand. I cannot stand that man. Hello, Tony Whitaker. Good to have you. Yeah, Hakeem Jeffries. I'm going to show you a clip in a minute. It was beating his chest. In other words, he got her fired. That's, and that's another reason why she should have gone out on her own accord. Politics are a blood sport. No rhyme or reason sometimes. This climate in politics are accelerated. Well, listen, DC is a swamp. It's really terrible. That's why I refused a job there. That's why I refused many jobs there. Well, a couple of jobs there. I don't want to exaggerate. But I don't play those games. An elected official asked me to work for her there, and I said absolutely not, because it'll come back. I'll say something bad to one of them and they'll try and kill you. So I don't want to do that. And then I was asked to head an agency, and I said no, because I knew that would come back and bite me in the ass, because I wasn't going to keep my opinions to myself. Yeah, DC is, you got to be a certain kind of creature to be able to get around DC. Sometimes the powers that be move the chess pieces. Yeah, well, she should have moved them herself. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, someone said she had an affair with, I forgot the name. It was Corey Lewandowski who works for her. And that, if that is so, that's going to be just terrible. And well, there's lots of affairs going on in DC. That's another problem there. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Hi, Lucille. How are you? Good to have you. Hello and happy Thursday. Yes, end of the week for us. Hello, Gloria. Gloria at the beginning of the show. That's fantastic. Yes, Corey Lewandowski. All right, so $220 million spent on commercials. I don't know if any of you saw it. I'm sure a lot of you watch Fox, but Fox is very upset now that they're not going to see this commercial anymore. Watch.
Wide open spaces, they remind me of why our forefathers came here. Why do I love these wide open spaces? They remind me of why our forefathers came here, not just for its beauty, but for the freedom only America provides. I'm Kristi Noem. From the cowboys who tamed the West, to the titans who built our cities, to the dreamers who chased the impossible, America has always rewarded vision and grit. Our greatness calls people to us for a chance to prosper, to live how they choose, to become part of something special. Anyone who searches for freedom can always find a home here, but that freedom's a precious thing, and we defend it vigorously. You cross the border illegally, we'll find you. Break our laws, we'll punish you. Harm American citizens, there will be consequences. But if you come here the right way, your American dream can be as big as these endless skies. From President Trump and me, welcome home.
So, again, on prime time, Fox News, not sure if it was a campaign ploy, but it was taxpayer dollars, $220 million. It's a lot. That could pay a lot. That could pay a lot of people, especially now with the shutdown. So I don't know. Hi, Maisie. How are you? Yes, they were both married. And that's all anybody's going to talk about now is that. And it's a sin because she had a really good track record. But Minnesota was just tragic. She made these for herself. Yeah, she did. Now, some could argue that that would be helpful to help, prime the base, and show them that they're doing something. But yeah, not necessary. And the dog thing, not necessary. Yeah, it's, I don't get it. I don't get why anyone would put that on Fox. Maybe on Spanish speaking channels, maybe on MSN or CNN, but why Fox? Yeah, it just didn't make sense. MSN won't play it, I'm sure. Oh, the commercial? Oh, okay. Maybe you're right. Well, they $220 million is a lot of money. They'll play anything for that kind of money. Well, anyway, so that's that's what's going on with her. And I think that her now credibility goes downhill, even in her new job. I mean, because we saw that Kennedy was the one that grilled her, that asked her about the commercials, how much money she spent. And he asked her if the president had approved spending that amount of money on those commercials featuring her. And she said he did. And then Kennedy called the president, and the president said he had no idea. Kennedy went back to the news and told them that Trump was, what did he say? Mad as a murder hornet was his terminology. So now we all know she was fired. It wasn't just a promotion. They're talking about Markwayne Mullin taking her place. So we're going to talk about that too. But first, before we talk about that, I want you to listen to Hakeem Jeffries, because this guy just burns my ass.
You served with Markwayne Mullin in the House of Representatives. He's been in the Senate for a couple of years now. He somebody who's tight with the president. Is this an upgrade, in your opinion?
Well, let's cross that bridge when we get to it, and we'll see what he has to say when and if there.
What was your impression of serving with him in the House? Did you
I don't
ever
have
have
any. I don't have any comment right now on what's to come. Let's focus on what's taking place right now. Kristi Noem is gone. Good riddance. She was a disaster, and House Democrats made something very clear several weeks ago. We said either Kristi Noem is fired or she's going to be impeached.
Does that change the ICE conversation?
And
Does that
Kristi
open the door to
Kristi Noem has been fired, consistent with what we have demanded on behalf of the American people. But let me also make clear, a change in personnel is not sufficient. We need a change in policy. And that has to be bold, dramatic, transformational, and meaningful. And we've laid out 10 different demands standing on the side of the American people, including but not limited to judicial warrants, a ban on racial profiling, a prohibition on ICE targeting sensitive locations like schools, hospitals, polling sites, and houses of worship. A requirement that ICE agents are actually vetted through criminal background checks and actually trained. The implementation of a prohibition on the excessive use of force, which we've seen horrifically been unleashed on the American people, and of course, a requirement that ICE agents who break the law can be criminally investigated by state and local authorities. These are the type of policy changes that are going to be necessary to move us forward to ensure that ICE actually conducts itself like every other law enforcement agency in the country. That's our fundamental demand. Every other law enforcement agency in the country. So, of course, this change in personnel is welcome. Kristi Noem was a disgrace. And we made clear what was going to happen. One way or the other. It could happen the easy way or the hard way. He's chosen the easy way. But now we still have work that needs to be done in terms of the policy changes.
So, first off, if we want to talk about a disgrace, why wasn't he calling Mayorkas a disgrace, who had let 20 million people come in through an open border? That's number one. Number two is he's speaking, he says, on behalf of the American people. Well, the American people said that they want deportations of criminals. That's what they said. But the one line in his speech there, in his very angry speech to that reporter, that stood out to me was they don't want ICE at polling sites. Why would migrants or ICE be at polling sites? One wonders. Hello, Susan DeRema. How are you? Is she trying to run for office? Kristi Noem? No, Kristi Noem was governor of South Dakota. There's lots of commercials on Fox. I asked myself why they're playing it there. Yeah, I thought it was crazy. The only thing when they first came out so early on, I thought, oh, you know what? That's probably just to get the base primed so that they know she's working. What's the dog thing? She shot her dog, but wasn't it old or sick, like a mercy killing? Yes, it was a crazy dog. Something was wrong with the dog. The dog mauled some people and some animals, and so she had to put it down. So she shot it herself. Colleen Mahoney, the dog was vicious and killed some of her animals on her ranch. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I never shot a pet, but I have had them euthanized. Yes. Unfortunately, when you live on a ranch and you carry a gun, you put down horses, dogs, you put down sick animals. You don't, wait for the vet. It's not like the city. You do what you have to do. He's a very interesting character. Big drama. fuck their demands, but they'll win as usual. I don't think they will win because the American people want deportations of these criminals. He just doesn't know it. Oh, please, Jeffries, what are your policy? He makes me sick. He's using this to advance the left-wing agenda. That's why the CTSP has to be nipped in the bud. So, but the thing is that Trump said, Biden should have fired Mayorkas, and he should have. Trump did what he had to do, that not to please Jeffries, but to please himself. Because if a leader of a department is not giving you the proper information, or is willing to fudge, lie, or whitewash, or sugarcoat something, or deflect, or gaslight, then you don't need that person. He's got enough problems. So understandable, especially in the country. Yes, absolutely. The shooting of the dog. All Dems should be in jail. There's one that I like. His name is John Fetterman. Actually, there were 4 Dems today that voted against taking away the president's power to declare war. So that's good. If Minnesota, and there were 2 that voted for it, and one of them was Massey. Somebody better get rid of him. If Minnesota let the police protect ICE agents against those protesters, this would not have happened. This is just what they wanted, just like George Floyd. You're absolutely right. And they're the ones that are willing to sacrifice human lives for their agenda. But that's what, last night we had that young woman who was with the tongue in the cheek. The Democrats are this and that and the other thing. The Democrats have never valued human life. We see it in the fact, the abortion commentary. We see it in the fact that they would still have slaves if they were allowed to today. We see it that they want these undocumented, these illegal migrants to act as slaves, to be paid no wages to work. But you, Hakeem, and your Democratic colleagues are against Americans, not for Americans. I think Americans know that. Yeah, well, they're trying to play to the midterms. No one else could put a dog down. Yeah, but the thing is that if you're on a ranch and you have a feral dog, cat, whatever, sick, crazy, it's easier to put a bullet in their head than to try and capture it, bring it into the vet. It's just weird. I mean, out in the country, you do it yourself because you hunt, that you do it yourself. Listen, it's not everybody can kill an animal. I've done it a couple times. But, it's what has to be done if you're out in the country. Dog is property, and dog incident was old news. Yes, very old news. ICE procedures should be analyzed to ensure proper enforcement, including antagonist behavior, creating problems, warrant serving, and warning before aggressive law enforcement takes place if possible. Well, I don't know that I agree with you on that. I think that, the fact that the person, you don't need a warrant. If the person has committed a crime, then they have chosen to revoke whatever action, temporary citizenship they have been given. So, if you come into a country and you're on a visa and you commit a crime, you're out. Or worse. I mean, do you remember what was it called? Midnight Express, I think it was. That young man who went to Turkey and was trying to smuggle hashish back, and what they did to him in a Turkish prison. Very interesting. You keep voting for Democrats, that's what you're going to get. Shit, a lot of shit. You vote for shit, you get shit. To keep voting for them, and you're going to get shit. Yeah, well, that's true. Unfortunately. We have a lot of shit Republicans too. But she didn't have to put what she did to the dog in her book. I think she didn't I don't think she thought about it that way. I don't think anybody thought that that was going to be as problematic as it became. But again, the people who are making hay about her having to put down her dog are the same people who will, say that abortions, are just a clump of cells. It drives me nuts that we're more worried about animals than we are about humans. This is ranch culture where she lives. Yes, exactly. I mean, it's like Americans going to a foreign country and then, poo-pooing their customs or saying that their customs are wrong because they're not our customs. Your ranch life is different than city life. My friend had 2 dogs, killed their goats down here, and they shot the dogs. That's what happens. Always, always. Now they're going to open her closet and drag everything out. I hope they're all too many skeletons. This whole thing with Lewandowski, who also, by the way, has left, is problematic. I don't care for it. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't sound good to me. But I'm not going to get into the salacious details. But speaking about salacious details, I don't know if you all heard this. This is a Republican congressman. We got issues this week, boy. Listen.
New details about the final moments of Regina Santos Aviles, a regional district director for Congressman Tony Gonzalez, who died by suicide in September. Police reports confirming the medical examiner's ruling. Santos Aviles set herself on fire. The first officer on scene spoke with her as she lay burned on the front porch. She told him she'd learned her husband was cheating with her best friend and that she'd poured gasoline on herself and ignited it. Records show she may have called 911, telling dispatchers, quote, "I don't want to die." After she was rushed to the hospital, officers collected video evidence, including footage she sent a friend showing her pouring gasoline on herself. Home security video captured her alone in the backyard before using a torch lighter to ignite the fire. The political implications of all of this are still unclear. Gonzalez faces a primary election next week, and several of his opponents are calling on him to resign. In a post this weekend, he again said that this is a coordinated political attack. For the News 4 I team, I'm Jordan Elder.
All right, Jordan, thank you for that. Yami Vidhin joins us now with a look at late-night text messages exchanged between Congressman Gonzalez and his late staffer, Regina Santos Aviles, in May of 24. The texts were sent to us by her widower, Adrian Aviles.
According to the forensic extraction of the cell phone messages, they belong to Regina Aviles Gonzalez and a contact named TG. According to Adrian Aviles, who is the staffer's widower, and his attorney, TG is Tony Gonzalez. The messages were sent between 12:15 and 12:54 a.m. In one message, TG writes, quote, "Then send me a sexy pic." Later, TG asks, quote, "Favorite position?" and replies with something we cannot share on TV. Aviles Santos then replies, quote, "Never," and later writes, "This is too far, Tony."
Representative Tony Gonzalez is now admitting to something that's been talked about and alleged for quite a while, an affair with a staffer who later died by suicide. The San Antonio area congressman calls it a, quote, "lapse in judgment," end quote. And that came from an interview with conservative radio host Joe Pags.
So this Republican congressman apparently was having an affair with his district director and or was acting inappropriately towards her. Whether they were having an affair, I don't know. And apparently she killed herself. And this set off a firestorm in Congress because Nancy Mace, who was a victim of, I think, rape, put up a bill today to, what does the bill do? Hold on. The bill directing the Committee on Ethics to preserve and publicly release records of the committee's review of violations or alleged violations of Clause 9 as it pertains to acts of sexual harassment and Clause 18 of Rule 23 of the Rules of the House of Representatives. Okay, so what's been going on apparently is that these names have been, the names of the members that have been accused of sexual harassment have been cloaked, and payouts have been going to their victims. Payouts using taxpayer money. This has been going on for years and years and years. So Mace wanted everything disclosed today, and she wanted it stopped, the money not to be paid out to victims, that should come out of the the person's own pocket. And apparently they voted to put it to the ethics committee, but everything is cloaked until the ethics committee decides what it's going to do next. It was the vote was like 357 to 65. Crazy. But Boebert and those 65 who voted against it voted against it because they wanted the names released now. They wanted the information released now, but it's going to the Senate to the ethics committee. So they're stalling on it. The people that were eating the cats and the dogs were ignored. Yeah, they were. And we were told we were crazy. No-brainer talking points, pictures, and sound bites are the very essence of political norm. Absolutely. It's just, and the more salacious, the better for newspapers and for people. Hi, Kevin. Good to have you. No matter which time you get here, we love having you. Crooked visa transits should be brought to effectively and efficiently without any problem. Yeah. It's sad. It's terrible. And it's a Republican, so we're going down in flames. He now, apparently, he has a runoff. So he was in a primary, and Tuesday night it turned into a runoff for him. So he's still running. I don't know why. I think he should just step down, but it's crazy. Clinton set the standards for affairs. Oh, come on. No, Kennedy did. JFK, Marilyn Monroe. That White House was it was like the French court. There was sex going on in every room there. Clinton just kept the trend going. Nobody wanted to have sex with Nixon. And then I don't know about Bush the father. I think that Mrs. Bush would have killed anybody who would have gotten involved in that, right? Yeah, that would have been no. So not that Bush. And then it was Clinton, and everybody wanted to have sex with him and did. And then after Clinton, it was Bush Jr., and he swore off, debauchery and drinking and stuff. So he was no fun in the White House. And then it was Obama. And there was, everybody wanted to have sex with Obama, but I don't know that anybody actually did. He was a little handsy, but he wasn't terribly handsy. So I don't know. And then, now we have Trump, and Melania would fucking kill him if he did anything. But he had all his fun beforehand. I think only 67 voted in favor. No, 67 voted against. So because they want, and Boebert was one, they wanted the names released now. 350 some voted for it to go to the ethics committee. There's just too much corruption. We can't come back from it. Well, it was always corrupt. Listen, if you don't think that American politics has been corrupt since the day, since 1776, and since the first day that George Washington was sworn in, we have to understand corruption is corruption, and every government is corrupt. The thing is the founding fathers gave us an opportunity to fix the corruption, but we never do it. The Convention of States, God bless them, they're the only ones I've ever seen actually doing something. This government should be a Netflix series. Any government should. have you ever seen Parliament? Oh my God! If you want to see, what's that old adage or that old saying? I went to a hockey fight and a hockey game broke out. Well, you could say I went to a fight and Parliament broke out, because that's what it's like in British Parliament. Crazy that they get to vote on their own fate. We don't get that luxury. Yeah, well, you would think that we do, but with our elections, but yeah, we don't. Peyton Place, yes, absolutely. Obama had his boys. I've heard that. I don't know. I still haven't seen proof of it. I know, the pizza and all that stuff. I just don't know. I don't know, because if it was really happening, don't you think that Trump would have gotten that out there right away? I believe it's been corrupt, but we are poorer than ever because our money is squandered. Well, that's the thing. We're acting like slaves. We're working forever, and we're giving the money not here. We're giving it abroad. Trump is going to take care of it. It's just going to take. It's going to take some time. Nobody wanted Hillary. Yeah. All right. Well, we've come to the end of the show. We've come to the end of the week. Hopefully all will be well in Iran with our troops. Iran has lost their mind. They have sent more bombs to the UAE than they have to Israel. So I'm trying to figure that out, but I've decided I'm not going to try and figure them out. They're absolutely insane, and this is the best move that Trump could ever make. And Republicans are supporting it. Americans are supporting it. They just don't want it to go longer than the 60 days, and hopefully it won't. But anyway, I love you all, and I will see you on Sunday. Wait, we have some more. And Social Security will be bankrupt when I can retire. I don't think so. They've been saying that forever, and I'm getting my Social Security, so I think you'll be fine. Night, friends. Until the next chapter. Yes, pray. We didn't talk much about Markwayne Mullin, but I think he's going to be good. Oh yeah. So quickly, Markwayne Mullin. So in Oklahoma, here's how it works. He would leave, and then the governor would appoint till the next general election. So there would be a general election in November, and then whoever won that would become the new senator to fill out the rest of the term. It saves a special election. So we're good. We're good as long as the governor appoints somebody who is well known throughout the state, and I'm sure he will, probably like the district, like the attorney general or something, or lieutenant governor. Good night. Good night, everybody. Oh, I got the hiccups now. Good night. Love you all. See you on Sunday.